calm black man walks into an upscale car dealership. The arrogant manager, in front of gawking staff, hurls a disrespectful comment. The protagonist's silence builds tension. One symbolic insult flips into a moment of quiet power, ending with a twist no one sees coming. We don't serve your kind here. Take your business to the other side of town. The words cut through the marble-floored showroom like a rusted blade. Bright lights bounced off polished hoods of luxury sedans, their metallic paint jobs gleaming under the spotless chandeliers. A hush fell over the junior salesman who had paused mid-laugh, clipboard in hand, pretending not to hear, but unable to look away. They stood frozen beside a glossy black SUV, the kind people test drive for the photos, never intending to buy. Marcus Harris didn't flinch. He stood just inside the wide glass doors, his hand still resting on the chrome handle as if debating whether to pull it shut behind him. He wore a simple navy suit, crisp white shirt, no tie, polished shoes, not a single wrinkle, not a single sign of hurry. His eyes scanned the showroom, the eager faces, the forced smiles, until they landed back on the man who'd spoken. The manager's name tag read, Dale R., though everyone already knew him as the dealership's self-declared gatekeeper. He stood with arms crossed, sleeves rolled to his elbows, Rolex peeking out like a trophy. Dale's grin dripped smugness. The man's hair was slicked back too carefully, his voice a few decibels too loud, ensuring everyone within 20 feet. Knew who was in charge? I said, Dale repeated, stepping closer. We don't have time for browsers. You people come in, waste an hour, never buy, and then blame us when you can't afford a test drive. So, let's not waste each other's time, huh? Somewhere behind Marcus, the automatic doors hissed shut. The faint whoosh might as well have been a slammed door to the past, one he'd kicked open years ago with sweat and silence. He looked at Dale's face, the overconfident smirk, the slight twitch in the eye that betrayed a thrill in saying out loud what others only whispered, "A." Young sales associate shifted nervously by the reception desk. Her eyes darted from Marcus to Dale, then back. She pretended to straighten a stack of glossy brochures, but dropped one. It fluttered to the floor, an accidental flag marking this battlefield. Marcus stepped forward. His shoes tapped on marble, each footstep echoing as if the room held its breath. He stopped 2 feet from Dale, close enough to smell the cologne and stale coffee breath. Do you speak English, sir? Dale prodded, his grin sharpening. I'd hate to repeat myself. Marcus glanced at the fallen brochure. Red sports car flashed from its cover, all promise and shine. He bent down, picked it up, and placed it neatly back on the counter, ignoring Dale entirely. Oh, I see, Dale scoffed, leaned in, voice low enough for only Marcus to hear. Trying to act like you belong here, huh? Look, man, this isn't that kind of neighborhood. I'm saving you embarrassment. Be smart. Take that attitude down the block. He slapped a single business card on Marcus's chest. The cheap cardstock stuck for a moment before sliding down, landing face down on the pristine floor. The thud echoed louder than the words ever could. Marcus looked at the card, then back at Dale, his face calm. Not a single twitch, no raised voice. Just a measured exhale. He bent again, this time to pick up the fallen card. He turned it over slowly, read Dale's name, then slipped the card into his breast pocket, as if it were worth something more than cheap ink. A murmur rippled through the sales floor, a few hushed chuckles, someone's awkward cough. Dale straightened, suddenly feeling the eyes on him, mistaking them for admiration. You have no idea who I am, do you? Marcus said, his tone smooth as glass. His first words a calm thunder that made Dale blink. Dale's smile flickered, but returned. Yeah, should I? Marcus leaned in, voice low but firm. You will. He brushed past Dale, moving deeper into the showroom, each step claiming the marble Dale thought he owned. He paused by the biggest window overlooking the lot, rows of gleaming cars lined up like promises. He turned back, catching Dale's eyes just as the young saleswoman stepped closer, mouth half open as if to say something. A black town car pulled up outside, engine purring. The back door swung open. A suited driver stepped out, scanning for Marcus. Marcus didn't look back at Dale. He simply adjusted his cufflinks, gave the driver a slight nod, and spoke without raising his. Voice, call a staff meeting. Tell them the new owner wants a word. Dale's smirk died mid-breath. Outside, the tinted windows of the town car reflected Dale's stunned face as Marcus stepped past him. A ghost of arrogance. Crushed by one quiet revolution, the town car. Idled by the curb, its engine a low growl that matched the sudden silence inside the showroom. Marcus stood just beyond the glass, looking out at the rows of vehicles lined up like soldiers ready for parade. The sun had dipped low enough to cast long shadows across the marble floor, stretching toward Dale like dark reminders that the day wasn't over, but his control might be. Inside, the staff whispered behind perfectly shined hoods and tinted office glass. The young saleswoman, Emily, hovered by the reception desk, pretending to rearrange key fobs she'd already straightened twice. Her eyes darted from Dale, who stood frozen by the main entrance, to Marcus, whose calm presence seemed to expand. With every passing second, Dale cleared his throat, smoothed his sleeves down, and forced a grin that didn't quite reach his eyes. "All right, folks, show's over. Back to work," he barked, trying to keep his voice steady. A few salesmen pretended to nod, slipping into fake conversations with potential buyers who weren't really there. But every ear stayed tuned to the real drama unfolding by the window. Marcus turned slowly, hands clasped behind his back. He watched Dale approach the manager's swagger, just a hair too forced now. Dale stopped a few feet away, adjusting his Rolex as if its shine might blind everyone to what had just happened. "Look," Sir Dale began, his tone oily smooth. "Maybe we got off on the wrong foot. If you'd like, I can have someone show you around, get you some coffee, if complimentary. I don't drink coffee here." Marcus cut in, voice calm, but slicing through Dale's charm like a razor. "The beans are stale, cheap imports, labeled premium. Another corner you cut." Dale's jaw tensed. He glanced around, noticing a couple of junior staff trying too hard to look busy while inching closer to listen. He lowered his voice. "Hey, we can talk about this in my office." No need for a Marcus took a single step closer. Dale instinctively stepped back, bumping into the corner of the reception desk. Emily nearly dropped a tray of branded mugs she'd been pretending to arrange. One porcelain cup slipped, shattering on the marble with a crack like a gunshot. Everyone jumped, except Marcus. He didn't flinch. He looked down at the shards for half a heartbeat before lifting his eyes back to Dale's. "Call the team," Marcus said softly. "Now." Dale's smile faltered. His tongue darted out to wet, dry lips. "Who exactly do you think you are?" he hissed. "Some lawyer, city inspector I've dealt with." Emily's voice cut in, quiet but clear. "Maybe you should just call the team." The fact that she'd spoken at all made Dale's eyes flare. But Marcus didn't react. He simply turned his attention to her, gave her a polite nod that somehow said thank you without saying a word. Dale felt it, the shift. The subtle betrayal of a single glance. His eyes narrowed. "All right, fine." He yanked his phone from his pocket, stabbing at the screen. His voice dropped to a harsh whisper. "You're going to regret embarrassing me like this." Marcus said nothing. He simply walked past Dale, brushing the man's shoulder lightly. A touch so subtle, yet loaded with something heavier than anger. He paused by the reception desk, looking at Emily. "Thank you," he said, this time out loud. Emily nodded, swallowing hard. She couldn't remember the last time anyone had thanked her for anything in this place. Across the floor, the other salesmen gathered in awkward clumps. Some shot Dale apologetic looks. Others hid faint smirks behind forced coughs. A young mechanic from the service bay, still in his oil-stained overalls, leaned against the doorframe, curiosity etched on his face. Marcus turned to face them all. He said nothing yet, just let the silence settle, heavy and uncomfortable. Dale hovered by his side like a man who'd just realized the ground beneath him was made of thin ice. "So, what's this about?" one of the older salesmen asked, scratching the side of his neck. He'd been with the dealership since its grand opening 15 years ago. He knew Dale's style better than anyone, the false promises, the commissions mysteriously short, the quiet firings that kept everyone obedient. Marcus looked at him directly. "It's about change," he said simply. Dale forced a laugh that no one joined. "Change? We're not a charity. We're a business." "I run this place, not anymore," Marcus said, softer than before but echoing louder than Dale's. Bark. He reached into his inner pocket, pulled out a folded document, and laid it gently on the counter beside the broken mug shards. Emily peeked at the header. Transfer of ownership. The dealership's letterhead, Dale's signature at the bottom, he'd signed it weeks ago, not knowing who'd be behind the paperwork. A flush crawled up Dale's neck, blooming red beneath his collar. "This is a joke," he rasped, snatching. At the paper, Marcus didn't stop him. He simply watched. Dale's eyes darted over the lines, reading the truth he'd ignored when the deal came through under a holding company's name. His mouth opened, but no words came out. Around them, the staff stood frozen, the moment of realization hitting like a silent explosion. Dale's authority cracked, its pieces slipping through the marble like spilled oil. Marcus didn't smile. He didn't gloat. He just looked at his team now, and said, "We'll talk soon. For now, keep doing your jobs. But know this, everything changes." He turned, leaving Dale clutching the paper as if it could erase itself. Emily bent to sweep up the shards. Whisper slipped from her lips as Marcus passed. "Thank you," kept walking. The hum of the service bay drifted through the glass walls of the showroom. Wrenches clinked against metal, air hoses hissed like muted snakes, sounds Marcus had learned to love back when he worked 12-hour shifts under someone else's thumb. He stood in an upper office now, blinds half open, watching the flow. Below, like a general studying a battlefield outside the glass, Dale stalked the sales floor, pulling aside employees one by one. Each time, his hand gripped their elbow a second too long. His mouth bent close to their ear like a man sharing secrets not meant for open air. Some nodded, eyes flicking up to the tinted office window. Some pulled away faster than they meant. Two, the old fear replaced by something harder to control, curiosity. Marcus didn't flinch. He simply watched. Every so often, he scribbled a note in a small leather notebook, black, smooth, unbranded. Details mattered. He believed in details. It's what built him, brick by silent brick. He turned to the desk behind him, the near thing that Dale had installed to look expensive, but fooled no one who really knew would. On its surface lay stacks of contracts, payroll reports, and a sealed envelope marked confidential. He flipped the flap open, sighed. Complaints, employee exit interviews, a quiet file of rot no one bothered to air when Dale's voice ruled these. FLOORSA. Knock on the door snapped him back. He didn't turn. "Come in." The door creaked open. Emily peeked inside, her shoulders stiff but eyes braver than the day before. She stepped in, clutching a clipboard to her chest like a shield. "Mr. Harris," she began, voice testing the new name she'd heard whispered through the halls. I brought the sales reports you asked for." Marcus turned, offered her. The smallest nod. "Thank you, Emily." Her eyes flicked to the file on the desk. She bit her lip. "Is it true?" she asked before she could stop herself. "About you owning the place now?" He studied her, noting the worry behind her eyes, the worry that hope might be too dangerous a thing to carry in this building. "It's true," he said simply. Emily's shoulders dropped an inch, relief and fear wrestling for space in her spine. She placed the clipboard down, fingers trembling only slightly. "I'm sorry about yesterday," she whispered. "Should have said something." You did," Marcus interrupted gently. "When it mattered." She nodded, eyes glistening, then glanced toward the glass wall. Below, Dale was watching them. She shivered. "He's telling people you're just a front, that you'll fire anyone who doesn't bow down. He's saying a lot of things." Marcus's lips twitched. Not quite a smile, more like a thought slipping through. Let him talk. Truth has a way of burying lies in daylight. He reached for a sheet on the desk, flipped it toward her. Numbers, names, bonuses that had vanished. Commission percentages that looked perfect until you read the fine print. Emily's eyes widened. "He's been stealing from us." Marcus tapped the page once. "From all of you. For years." A knock echoed behind Emily. Dale didn't bother. Waiting for an invitation? He barged in, his face an ugly mask stretched too tight. Emily, he snapped, voice coiled in fake charm. Can you give us a minute? Emily stepped back, hesitation clear on her face. Marcus nodded to her, a silent permission to leave, with her head held high. She slipped out, leaving the door slightly ajar. Dale didn't waste a second. He lunged forward, hands splayed on the desk. What the hell do you think you're doing, Harris? Marcus didn't answer. He simply sat, folding his hands neatly atop the open complaint file. The silence was a blade that made Dale squirm. You come in here with your silent stares and your suits and your attitude, Dale sneered, voice rising with every word. These people work for me. They trust me. They know who made this place run. Marcus tilted his head, his calm unshaken. Do they? Dale slammed a fist on the desk, rattling. The cheap wood. Don't test me. You might have bought a piece of paper, but you didn't buy me. I built this place. Marcus leaned back slightly, letting the chair creak under his weight. That's where you're wrong, Dale. You didn't build it. You poisoned it. Dale barked a laugh that bounced around the glass walls like a trapped animal. Oh, you think you're some hero? They'll turn on you the second they realize you're just another suit pretending to care. You're nothing to them. Marcus's eyes flicked to the open door, where Emily's shadow lingered. Beyond her, others paused. Mid-step, ears angled to catch every word, Dale thought he spat in private. Keep talking, Marcus said softly. Let them hear you. Dale's eyes widened as the truth clicked too late. His gaze darted to the open door, his careless words bleeding into the halls he'd once ruled by fear and secrecy. He lunged for the door, slamming it shut, but the echo of his tantrum told its own story. Marcus stood calm as stone. He gathered the complaint file, tapped it twice against the desk, and looked Dale square in the eye. Rot, he said, voice quiet enough that Dale had to lean in to catch it. Rot doesn't survive sunlight. He brushed past Dale, pulling the door wide open behind him so the hallway could see Dale's clenched fists, flush on his neck, the sweat glistening beneath his slicked back hair. Marcus walked out. The whispers turned louder. The sunlight followed him. By late afternoon, the dealership smelled of engine oil and stale coffee. The big glass showroom still sparkled, but beneath the shine, tension brewed like a thunderstorm, waiting for the right gust to crack the sky. Marcus moved through it like a calm breeze, eyes watchful, footsteps steady, his presence making people straighten their ties and hush their side comments. Near the back lot, Jamal, the youngest mechanic on the team, crouched beside a dusty sedan, wiping sweat from his brow with a rag that had seen better days. He'd heard the rumors. Everyone had. A new owner, a new name, and that Dale's word wasn't iron anymore. But rumors were fragile things. Jamal had learned that the hard way. When promises of promotions turned to threats the second he asked about overtime that never showed up in his pay, he didn't notice Marcus standing a few feet behind him, until a soft shadow crossed the sunlit concrete. Jamal jumped, banging his elbow against the bumper. Ah, damn. Sorry, sir. I'll move this out back soon as I'm done. Marcus didn't smile, but his eyes softened. He crouched down, suit pants brushing the dusty ground, ignoring the faint smear it left behind. He nodded at the car. What's wrong with it? Jamal hesitated. Usually, when the managers asked questions, it meant someone was about to get blamed. But this man didn't look like he was waiting for an excuse. He looked like he actually cared about the answer. A faulty fuel pump, Jamal said finally. Old model. Old needs a part we don't keep in stock. I told Dale last week, but he trailed off. He didn't need to finish. Marcus studied the engine for a moment, then looked Jamal in the eye. What's your name, Jamal, sir? How long you been here, Jamal? 4 years. The words came out faster than he meant, a flicker of pride still clinging to the number. For years of missed lunch breaks, overnight shifts, and promises of next month, kid? Marcus nodded slowly. He pulled out his phone, tapped a quick note, then slid it back into his pocket. Order the part tonight, put it on my desk. Sign off myself. Jamal blinked. You really? Dale always said it wasn't in the budget. It's in the budget now, Marcus said simply. Something cracked inside Jamal's chest, a wall that had taken 4 years of broken trust to build. He watched as Marcus stood, brushing dust from his knee. Jamal's mouth opened, searching for the right thing to say. "Thank you, sir," he settled on, the words tasting unfamiliar but good. Marcus turned, his gaze sweeping the lot like a tide washing away grime. "Thank you, Jamal. Keep doing your job. Do it well. The rest, I'll handle." He walked away, leaving Jamal staring after him, the greasy rag dangling from his hand. The car, broken and half forgotten, suddenly felt like proof that maybe something small could change. Maybe big things. Inside the showroom, Dale watched the exchange from behind tinted glass. His eyes narrowed, fingers drumming against the armrest of an expensive office chair that didn't feel like a throne anymore. He could see Jamal standing there, stupidly hopeful. He could see Emily whispering to two other sales associates near the coffee machine, her face alive with some reckless hope that made Dale's stomach twist. He slammed a folder shut, startling a junior salesman who'd just stepped in. The kid nearly dropped a stack of forms. "Get out," Dale snapped. The door closed, but the rage stayed trapped inside. Dale leaned back, forcing himself to breathe. He knew Marcus was pulling strings, planting seeds. He knew the staff were hungry for something, anything that didn't taste like fear. If he didn't move soon, the whole place would slip. From his grip, like oil, through cracked fingers, he flipped open a drawer, pulling out a sleek black phone, not his work-issued one. This line was for calls that didn't leave paper trails. He scrolled to a saved number labeled only with 2 letters, R.G. It rang twice. A voice answered, smooth and bored. "Yeah, it's Dale." Silence. Then a low chuckle. "Scared already?" Dale's jaw tightened. "I need you to find something on him. Anything. Old debts, bad deals, dirt, whatever you can dig up." The voice on the other end sighed dramatically. "You do realize you're not exactly paying premium for this, right? You'll get your bonus," Dale hissed. "Just find me something before he roots me out completely." Pause. "Then send me the name. To be ready to use." This one sounds careful." Dale stared out at the lot again. Marcus now talking to a customer like he'd owned this place forever. A calm smile playing at the corner of his mouth. The sight made Dale's skin crawl. He ended the call. Without saying goodbye, the phone thunked into the drawer, the sound swallowed by the hush of his suddenly too small office. Outside, Jamal watched Marcus shake the customer's hand. Easy, warm, real. Dale's teeth ground together behind the glass. Loyalty, Dale thought bitterly. Such a stupid word, dangerous in the wrong hands. He reached for a pen, scribbled Marcus's name on a sticky note, and pressed it flat against the desk. "We'll see how long you keep them." Dale muttered to no one. Rain tapped lightly on the glass roof above the showroom. Steady drizzle turned the parking lot silver, washing away the dust and old oil. Stains that Dale always pretended weren't there. Inside, the soft patter mixed with the faint hum of conversation and the occasional squeak of a clean shoe on marble. Marcus sat in the corner of the break room, not behind an office door, but on a plain plastic chair beside the battered vending machine. A half-circle of employees surrounded him, mechanics with grease under their nails, receptionists clutching mugs of stale coffee, junior sales reps who'd only spoken to Dale when he barked their names across the floor. Marcus listened more. Then he spoke. He asked about schedules that never matched the promised hours, overtime that vanished on paychecks, service bonuses that slipped through cracks like water down a broken drain. He took notes in that same leather notebook, never raising his voice, never promising too much, just enough to feel like a door had opened that they'd forgotten even existed. At the edge of the group, Emily watched, arms folded tight, but a smile playing at the corner of her mouth. Jamal leaned in the doorway, pretending to mop a floor that didn't need mopping. The atmosphere hummed with something Dale had always feared, a room where fear didn't lead every conversation. A soft tap at the door broke the spell. Dale stood there, suit to crisp for the rain outside, the forced smile bending his mouth into something that looked like a scar. "Hey, everyone," Dale said, his voice sugary enough to rot teeth. "Sorry to interrupt this little chat." Marcus didn't move. He simply raised his eyes, waited. Dale stepped inside, scanning the faces that had once flinched when he entered a room. They didn't flinch now. Some didn't even bother to hide the fact that they were watching him the same way they'd once watched him watch them. "Mind if I borrow our new owner for a moment?" Dale asked, emphasizing the word like it tasted sour. Marcus closed his notebook, slipped it into his inner pocket, and rose. He turned to the group first. "Thank you for your time. Keep this going." Heads nodded. A few offered shy smiles. Dale's jaw twitched at each one in the hallway. Dale's steps clicked faster than Marcus's calm stride. He rounded on him just past the staff bulletin board, a faded cork mess of old memos and holiday party reminders. "You think this little show's gonna fool them?" Dale hissed, his polite smile dissolving the second the door closed behind them. "You think you're gonna waltz in here and be the hero? Buy some cheap loyalty with coffee chats and pity bonuses?" Marcus regarded him like he was studying an overgrown weed. "This is their workplace, Dale. Not your stage." Well, Dale's laugh was sharp, echoing too loud in the quiet hallway. "You know what I found out about you, Harris?" He leaned closer, voice dropping to a poisonous whisper. "Your little company, it's clean. But you weren't always a suit. You were some nobody. Cleaning cars? Fixing engines for pocket change?" Marcus didn't flinch. "That's true." Dale blinked. He hadn't expected that. His grin faltered, but clawed its way back. "Yeah, you think these people will respect that? Knowing their big boss was just a glorified car washer? No fancy degree, no family name, just a lucky lottery ticket." This took a step closer, so close Dale had to tilt his head back slightly. For a second, the hallway felt too narrow for Dale's ego to squeeze through. "You ever think," Marcus said softly, each word measured like a slow drip of water wearing downstone, "that maybe they respect that more than you?" The door down the hallway opened. Jamal stepped out, mop in hand, eyes wide as he realized he'd caught the tail end of something that wasn't meant for him. Dale spotted him too, and for a heartbeat, fear flickered behind his eyes. Marcus turned slightly, raising his voice. "Just enough. Isn't that right, Jamal?" Jamal hesitated, then gave a slow, steady nod. "Yes, sir, it is." Dale's nostrils flared. "Don't you drag them into this. They're already in it," Marcus said. His voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. He made sure of that. Dale's mask cracked just for a moment. The forced calm slipped, replaced by raw, exposed anger that buzzed under his skin like static. He lunged forward, finger jabbing Marcus's chest. "You think you're going to stand here and make me the villain? I built this place. I made these people." "They owe me, do they?" Marcus asked. He didn't move. He didn't shove Dale's hand away. He just let the silence swallow the hallway again. Behind them, Jamal's mop handle tapped the floor twice. Down the corridor, Emily leaned around a corner, phone in hand, pretending to check a text but clearly watching every second. The weight of eyes crushed Dale's pride further than Marcus's calm words ever could. He snatched his finger back like it burned him, stepping away with a snarl. "This isn't over," he spat. "You think you've won them? They're just scared. Wait until you fail them, then we'll see." Marcus didn't respond. He turned his head slightly, catching Jamal's quiet grin, Emily's nod. The mask Dale wore slipped to the floor like a dropped coin, worthless and loud all at once. As Dale stormed away, Marcus adjusted his cuffs, turned, and walked calmly back to the break room where people waited for a leader who wasn't. Afraid of cracked masks and old ghosts? The last car had rolled off the lot 2 hours ago. The soft hum of the closing shift faded behind the thick glass doors. Outside, the rain had stopped, but puddles glowed under the parking lot lamps like spilled mercury. Inside, the only light came from Marcus's office, a single desk lamp, spilling gold over stacks of old invoices and yellowing files that smelled like stale air and secrets. Marcus sat hunched over a ledger older than half his. "Junior sales team." The pages crinkled under his fingertips as he traced numbers that didn't add up. Double entries, inflated expenses, ghost suppliers that siphoned money month after month. Dale's signature glared back from line after line, cocky loops of ink that once meant authority, now just evidence. He leaned back, pressing tired palms against his eyes. The hum of the ceiling vent filled the silence. In that hum, he heard echoes the way his father's garage used to sound at midnight. The hiss of the old radiator, the rhythmic tick of cooling metal when the day's last customer finally drove away. Back then he'd dreamt of being more than a man wiping oil off his hands under flickering lights. And now here he was, under brighter lights. Wiping grime from something bigger than an engine, his phone buzzed, snapping him out of the memory. A single text, "Emily, you're still here?" He tapped back. "Yes. Go home. Lock the side door." Her reply came fast. "Already did. Be careful." He allowed himself the ghost of a smile before setting the phone face down. He flipped the page. More names. More fake signatures. Bonuses that never reached the people who'd earned them. He scribbled notes in his leather book. Each line another nail in the coffin Dale had built for himself. Down the block. In a greasy diner that never asked questions, Dale sat hunched in a booth, swirling whiskey in a chipped glass. Across from him, the fixer, RG scrolled through an ancient laptop. The diner lights buzzed overhead, flickering in and out like they couldn't decide if they wanted to expose the men beneath them. "You're telling me you've got nothing?" Dale's voice dripped disbelief in stale booze. "No debts? Number. Arrests? Not even a rumor?" RG didn't look up. He scratched at the peeling sticker on his laptop. "He's boring," he said flatly. "Boring's hard to kill." Dale's hand slapped the table, rattling the glass. "Everyone's got something. A cousin, a bad loan, an affair. Dig deeper." RG closed the laptop with a quiet click. His eyes were flat pools that reflected nothing back. "You don't get it, do you? This guy, he's spent his whole life building walls. But not to keep people out, to keep his own dirt buried. He's clean where it matters." Dale's face flushed red, then pale. He sucked air through his teeth. Then, "Find a way to make something stick. People believe what they're told." "I don't need proof, I need whispers." RG laughed, a low, joyless bark that made the night feel colder. "Careful what you wish for, boss. Sometimes people believe the wrong whisper. Sometimes they believe the truth." Dale's fists clenched around the glass until a hairline crack spread under his thumb. "I'm not losing to him. I made this place. I made it run." RG slipped his laptop into a battered messenger bag. "Maybe you did. But you built it. On quicksand, he's not the type to sink with you." Dale's mouth twisted. He pushed the glass away and leaned in. "You ever heard of the saying, when you can't find dirt, you make it?" RG paused at the edge of the booth. His eyes flicked over Dale, the sweat on his collar, the tremor in his hand. He gave a small, almost pitying smile. "Be careful, Dale. Not every enemy plays by your rules." He left Dale sitting in that cracked vinyl seat, staring at a glass that looked ready to shatter. Back at the dealership, Marcus leaned back, flipping one last file shut. He could feel it now, the faint tremor that told him Dale wasn't going quietly, that men like Dale never did. But he also knew this was where quiet revolutions were born, not in headlines or boardrooms, but in the quiet click of a lamp. On a desk, in a man refusing to close the books when everyone else went home, he stood and stretched. Rolling his stiff shoulders, he glanced at the security feed, the empty showroom, the locked front door, the rain drying on the lot. Safe. Enough. For now, as he packed his notes into a plain folder, a single page slipped free, an old pay slip with Dale's signature beside Jamal's name. Overlooked overtime. He tucked it carefully into the front pocket of his notebook. He flicked the lamp off, plunging the office into shadow. Beyond the glass, the lot lights flickered once, then settled. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rolled. Soft, but certain. He liked that sound. Quiet, steady, unstoppable. Morning light crept through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the showroom, painting long stripes across gleaming hoods and spotless tile. But behind that shine, whispers slithered like oil under a door. In corners near the break room, by the vending machine. Near the service bay's grease-streaked door, Dale's rumors found hungry ears. "He's not even the real owner. You know that." One junior salesman murmured to another, eyes flicking over his shoulder. "Someone else put up the money. He's just a puppet. I heard he's got criminal ties. It's backroom deals. That's why he keeps digging through files at night." Marcus heard the echoes before he heard the words. He stepped through the hallway quietly, nodding at passing employees who half nodded back. their eyes darting away too quickly. Gossip made people cowards, he knew that. But truth made them brave again, if it was given room to breathe. In the staff lounge, Emily sat hunched over her phone, scrolling through a group chat that buzzed like a hornet's nest. She looked up as Marcus entered, worry darkening her face. "There. Saying you're hiding something?" she said softly, like the walls might repeat her. "Dale's been feeding it. It's cornering people, promising raises if they keep quiet." Marcus didn't ask how she knew. He trusted her eyes more. Then Dale's mouth. "Thank you," he said. "Can you get everyone?" 15 minutes here. Emily's brows shot up. All of them. All of them. She nodded. She liked that he never barked commands, just requests that felt heavier than orders. She slipped out the door, her soft voice turning firm as she called names down the corridor. 15 minutes later, the entire team squeezed into the lounge and spilled out into the hallway. Jamal leaned against the back wall, arms folded but his eyes sharp and ready. Senior salesman lurked by the door, half curious, half worried they'd be blamed for believing the wrong man. Dale pushed his way in last, a grin twisting his lips. He hovered by the snack counter, arms crossed, eyes glinting with smugness. He didn't need to speak. He'd done enough damage already. Marcus stepped forward, holding nothing but his leather notebook. He didn't stand on a desk or wave his hands like Dale did. He just stood still, calm enough to quiet the murmurs. "I hear there's talk," Marcus said. His voice didn't boom, but it carried. "Talk that I'm not who I say I am. That I came here with secrets. That I'm using this place for something dirty." A cough broke the silence. Someone looked down at their shoes. Marcus flipped his notebook open, turned it to the first page, the list of names who'd worked overtime and never got paid. He lifted it slightly so the front row could see. "This is who I am," he said. "I came here to see who was invisible, to find who was ignored, to fix what was stolen." His thumb flipped a few pages. More lists, ghost suppliers, inflated invoices, hush payments. Dale's name scattered across all of it like mold in an abandoned house. "I don't expect you to trust rumors or promises," Marcus continued. "You don't have to trust me at all, but look around. Really look. Ask yourself who profits. From your fear?" Murmurs again, softer this time. Jamal's jaw tightened. Emily's eyes flicked to Dale, who shifted his weight but didn't step forward. "You want to know my past?" Marcus said. His voice hardened just enough to scrape the edges of the room. "I washed cars. I cleaned engines. Signed paychecks. With grease under my fingernails. No one gave me this place. I earned it. Quietly, brick by brick." He stepped closer to the circle, meeting eyes that had avoided him all week. "You think I'm here to steal from you?" He pointed at Dale without raising his voice. "The only thief here already did." Dale barked a laugh too loud. "Oh, come on. You expect them to buy this hero act? You think they're that stupid?" Marcus didn't flinch. He reached into his pocket, pulled out the old pay slip with Jamal's name. He held it up for everyone to see. "Ask Jamal, who signed away his overtime. Ask Emily, who buried complaints in locked drawers. Ask each other why you were told not to ask questions." He let the slip fall onto the break room table, paper landing, soft as a whisper, but heavy as a gavel. For a breathless moment, no one moved. Then Jamal's voice cut through the hush. "It's true. He made my pay vanish for 2 years. Emily's voice followed. "Mine too. And when I asked, he threatened to fire me." Dale's grin cracked like old paint. He stepped forward, finger raised. "This is garbage, but..." The room didn't turn to him. It turned away from him. It turned to each other, quiet nods. Shared memories piecing together like a puzzle no one wanted to finish until now. Marcus closed his notebook. He didn't smile. He didn't need to. Believe. "What you see," he said simply. "I'm not asking for loyalty. I'm asking for honesty." He stepped back, leaving the space open for the staff to stand together and to stand apart from the man who had ruled them with rumor and fear. And for the first time since the glass doors opened that morning, the room felt like it belonged to its people, not its rumor, by closing time. The dealership was quiet in that way only big, empty buildings can be, lights humming overhead. The tick of a cooling engine, echoing like a heartbeat. The rain had returned, tapping against the showroom's glass walls in soft, steady waves. Marcus stood by the main display, a sleek, polished SUV on a rotating platform, spinning in slow circles under showroom spotlights. He watched its reflection ripple across the marble floor. The entire building felt like it was holding its breath. Behind him, the faint click of expensive shoes announced Dale's arrival before his voice did. Marcus didn't turn. He waited the silence itself. An invitation for Dale to speak first? You think you've won? Dale sneered, his voice dripping poison into the empty space. You think you're the savior now? Some working-class hero, come to free the peasants from the big bad boss? Marcus still didn't move. He watched the car make another lazy half-turn on its platform. Funny thing about heroes, Dale, he said quietly. They don't see themselves as heroes. They just fix what's broken. Dale scoffed, stepping closer. Close enough that his reflection warped in the SUV's shiny black door. Don't preach to me, Harris. You're nothing without this place. I gave you your chance to walk away. You should have taken it. Finally, Marcus turned. The overhead lights caught the calm steel in his eyes. What are you really afraid? Of Dale? That they'll see you for what you are? Or that you'll see yourself for what you became? Dale's hand twitched at his side. For a second, Marcus thought he'd swing, but Dale's pride always ran faster than his fists. Instead, Dale pulled a folded paper from his inside pocket and slapped it against Marcus's chest. Final offer, Dale hissed. You resign tonight? We call it clean. I'll spin it however you want. You get your payout, you disappear. Or, his voice dropped lower, trembling with rage, or I drag your name through the dirt so deep, you'll beg me to bury it. Marcus took the paper, glanced at it once, a laughable agreement scrawled in Dale's smug handwriting. He held it between two fingers, then calmly tore it in half. The sound echoed in the empty showroom. Louder than Dale's threat ever could. You don't get to write the ending, Marcus said. His voice was soft, softer than Dale's hiss, softer than the rain outside. But it cut deeper than a shout ever would. Dale's eyes bulged, spit glistening at the corner of his mouth. You think they'll stand by you in this place? Tanks? When the money runs dry? They're rats, Harris. They'll jump ship the second the lights flicker. You're wrong, Marcus said simply. He turned his head slightly, just enough for Dale to catch the faintest movement in the shadows behind the showroom glass. Near the service bay door, Jamal stood half-hidden, mop in hand, eyes wide. Farther back, Emily lingered near the reception desk, pretending to shuffle papers but clearly listening. Dale hadn't noticed them. He was too wrapped in his own venom. You really think they're loyal? Dale spat. They're loyal to paychecks, not you. Maybe, Marcus said. He stepped closer, not threatening. Just close enough that Dale could see the calm that terrified him more than any threat ever could. But sometimes people need to see what real loyalty looks like to believe in it again. Dale's mouth twitched, that old smirk fighting to stay alive on a face that no longer knew how to wear it. I built this place, he growled. I made it worth something. No, Marcus said. Oba said. His voice was quieter than ever, so soft that Dale had to lean in to hear it. You poisoned it. You made it fear you. That's not the same thing as respect. Dale's hand shot out, shoving Marcus backward. The SUV behind him rocked slightly on its platform. Dale's breath came fast now, ragged. You don't scare me. Don't have to, Marcus replied. He didn't raise his hands, didn't. Step back. He just held Dale's gaze until Dale's own eyes flinched away. Behind them, soft click broke the air, Jamal's mop handle tapping against the tiled floor. Dale's head snapped around. He saw Jamal. He saw Emily. He saw the truth. This showdown wasn't private anymore. Emily's phone hovered just inside her pocket, the red record light blinking like a heartbeat. You think you've ruined me, Dale spat, voice cracking. You haven't? I'll walk out of here with my name clean. Oh, you'll do nothing, Marcus said, cutting him off with a finality that silenced the room. You'll leave. And you'll watch what respect looks like when you can't buy it. Dale's lips moved, but no words came out. His reflection in the SUV's glossy door looked small, twisted by the curve of metal, a king stripped of his crown by his own hands. Marcus stepped aside. Jamal and Emily didn't move, didn't need to block Dale's exit. The walls of the building did that on their own. For the first time in years, Dale looked trapped in the place he once ruled like a kingdom. And for the first time, Marcus felt the walls breathe again, not with fear, but with freedom. Morning sunlight poured through the wide glass windows, turning last night's storm into nothing but clean, shining puddles that reflected the bold letters above the entrance. Harris Motors. The name wasn't new, not officially, but today, for the first time, people said it without lowering their voices inside. Marcus stood near the main reception desk. He wasn't in his glass office or tucked away in the break room. He was right where everyone could see him. Jamal leaned beside the entrance, arms crossed, eyes sharper than ever. Emily sorted through a stack of new HR packets, real contracts this time. Not the whispered promises Dale used to dangle like keys to a locked door. Dale arrived late, later than he'd ever dared before. He pushed through the glass door. With that same forced grin that used to make people straighten their backs, today no one flinched. Some looked him straight in the eye, some looked right through him. He paused when he saw Marcus standing there so calmly, hands folded behind, his back like he'd been waiting all night. Enjoying the show? Dale sneered. He adjusted his tie, a nervous tick he couldn't shake even now. "It's not a show, Dale," Marcus said evenly. "It's an ending." Dale snorted, stepping closer. "You think you've won because a few kids stand behind? Your loyalty is a cheap trick, Harris. Dries up when the money runs out." Marcus didn't move. "You keep saying that? And yet they're still here." He nodded once and Dale's eyes flicked past him, finally seeing what Marcus had seen all morning. Emily, Jamal, and half the sales floor gathered near the service bay, watching. Some with folded arms, some with quiet nods. There were no threats in their eyes, just the quiet certainty that they weren't afraid anymore. Dale's lip curled. "I suppose you called them here to see me beg." "No," Marcus said. He stepped aside, opening a small path between Dale and the glass doors behind him. "I called them here to see you leave." Muscle in Dale's jaw twitched. His eyes darted toward the exit, then back to Marcus, searching for an escape hatch that didn't exist. "You think you're going to walk me out? Parade me through? A lot like some dog?" "No parade," Marcus said quietly. "You can walk out on your own 2 feet, or we can do it another way." Dale's laugh came out cracked. "You'd call the cops? You'd make a scene?" Marcus didn't blink. "I don't have to. Your signature is on every dirty piece of paper in that office. You built your own exit, Dale. I'm giving you a chance to walk through it without handcuffs." For a heartbeat, the old Dale flickered, the one who'd barked orders and made grown men sweat with a single glare. But now the glare bounced off Marcus like rain off stone. "Think they'll still cheer when you fail, Harris?" Dale spat. "Think they'll stay when the money dries up and the lights go dark?" "They'll stay because they believe in thee." "Work," Marcus said, voice soft but steady, not in fear. "Out. Not in lies. And if they ever choose to walk away, they'll do it free, not cornered by your threats." Dale's hand twitched like it wanted to throw something, but he had nothing left to throw. No more secrets, no more rumor. Just his pride shriveled and gasping. Behind him, Jamal stepped forward, mop handle resting on his shoulder like a quiet spear. Emily didn't hide her phone this time. She held it plainly at her side, screen glowing, recording every word. "You're all fools," Dale snapped, spinning to face the staff. "He'll ruin you. You'll see. When the paychecks bounce, when the bills pile up, don't come crawling back to me." But no one spoke. No one argued. The silence answered him better than any shout could. Marcus's voice broke the hush. "Dale." The name alone stopped him mid-rant. Marcus gestured toward the door, a simple motion that said more than any argument. "Go," Marcus said. "Leave with what's left of your dignity, or stay and lose the rest." Dale's eyes flicked to Jamal, then Emily, then the faces he'd once owned like property. None of them flinched. None of them lowered their gaze. I saw himself reflected in all those eyes. and what he saw made him recoil like a man scorched. By his own fire, he pulled at his tie, suddenly too tight around his neck. He stepped back, bumping into the front desk with a soft thud. For a heartbeat, Marcus thought he might stay, might fight, might spew one last threat. But the words never came. Without another glance, Dale turned. The glass doors hissed open on their silent hinges. The morning light hit him square in the eyes, too bright. For a man who'd spent so long hiding behind shadows, he stepped through. The doors whispered shut behind him. And just like that, Dale's reign ended not with a bang, not with a fight, but with the softest click of glass on metal. Inside, the hush broke. A breath released. The building itself seemed to exhale. Marcus turned to the people who remained, not as employees, not as soldiers, not as puppets, his people. He didn't need to say anything. They already knew. And for the first time, the dealership didn't just have a new owner. It had a heartbeat. It was the first Monday in years that the dealership didn't feel like a cage. Sunlight streamed through the tall glass, landing on clean floors and rows of polished cars that gleamed like promises. No longer broken by hidden clauses, Marcus stood at the front of the main showroom, no podium between him and the people who filled the space from the reception desk to the edge of the service bay. Mechanics in overalls, sales reps in iron shirts, receptionists clutching coffee cups warm enough to steady shaking hands. Jamal leaned against a pillar near the front, arms folded, but eyes bright. Emily sat cross-legged on the showroom's small stage, phone in her lap, recording everything but not hiding it anymore. Marcus looked at them. Really looked. Not like numbers. It's not like expenses to squeeze or mouths to silence. It's like people who'd walked into work every day under a shadow and still kept the lights on. He cleared his throat once, though he didn't need to. The silence belonged to him. Now, not because they feared him, but because they trusted him enough to listen. "I don't have a big speech," he said. His voice carried, steady but not booming. Just enough to be heard over the hum of the morning. He held up the same leather notebook he'd carried since day one. Its corners were worn now, pages stuffed, with scribbles and names and hours that once went unpaid. He lifted the notebook slightly. "This was my blueprint. Every question you were afraid to ask. Every promise you were afraid to demand. Every cent someone told you wasn't there." He snapped it shut. The quiet thud felt final. "It's over," Marcus said. The silence, the looking over your shoulder, the whispering in corners like survival was some privilege you had to earn. A ripple of breath moved through the room, the soft sigh of a dozen shoulders dropping their old tension at once. Emily raised her hand halfway, then let it drop when Marcus met her eyes. He nodded for her to speak anyway. "Are we safe now?" she asked. Shh. The question was too small for what she really meant. Are we safe to work? To speak? To hope? Marcus's eyes softened. "Yes," he said. He looked at Jamal next. "If you work hard, you get paid. If you work extra, you get paid more. If you're owed, you'll have it in your hands before the week ends." A small smile tugged at Jamal's mouth, the kind that still looked new on his face. A few people clapped softly, hesitant at first, then louder, stronger, until the room felt warm in a way no expensive lighting could buy. When the applause faded, Marcus stepped down from the low stage. He didn't want to stand above them. He wanted to stand among them. "I'm not asking you to pretend this will be perfect," he said. "Mistakes will happen. Days will be hard. We'll argue. But we'll do it together, in the open. Not behind locked doors." A young sales rep near the back raised her hand shyly. "What if someone tries to take it back, like Dale did?"
Yes.
Smiled, really smiled this time, the first honest grin that crinkled the corners of his eyes. "Then they'll have to go through all of us." Laughter broke out, real free. A joke Dale would have crushed with a glare now blossomed in the bright air, like a seed finally given light. Marcus looked around, seeing more than employees. He saw the father who'd taught him how to rebuild a transmission on a cold garage. Flor who told him that good work was louder than any insult thrown at your back. He saw himself in Jamal's steady stance, in Emily's lifted chin. In the kid in the back, who still wore scuffed shoes and a too big tie. because it was the best he had. This was ownership, not a contract, not a deed in a safe, but people who showed up because they wanted to, because they knew it mattered, because they knew they mattered. "All right," Marcus said, clapping his hands once. "Enough talking. We've got cars to sell, engines to fix, coffee to refill. Go to your jobs and know they're yours to do with pride." A low cheer rose, small but certain. Like the quiet start of a song no one needed permission to sing. Jamal slapped Marcus's shoulder as he passed. Emily tucked her phone away, grinned wide as she joined the others at the front desk. One by one, they drifted back to work. But not the old work. Not the work where they kept their heads down, hoping not to be noticed. This time they moved like owners of something bigger than paychecks. Marcus stayed where he was for a moment, alone in the middle of the floor that no longer smelled of fear, but of fresh polish and possibility. Outside, the sun burned away the last of the puddles. The sign above the door, Harris Motors, reflected the bright blue sky, bold and clean. Marcus turned to follow his people into the day they'd built together. The quiet revolution was never loud. It never needed to be it. Just needed someone to stand calm when the storm came and leave the door open when it passed.